what is the most important thing in life? Like mental health, when you talk about mental health, I did not step out to solve for mental health. There's a lot of fear, right? And to overcome that fear, it takes everything from you, and not just you, people around you. I mean, it has been a long and taxing journey, but I think now they have also started seeing eye to eye with the fact that my life path is very different from how they imagine or see other people around me. If your relationships with your parents, your partner, your friends, family exist in good degree, you are going to be a happy person in life. We need consent from the parents for them to be able to come to therapy. Right?
Hello viewers, hope you're all doing great. This is Professor Guru Prasad and you're watching GIBS IRE Talks podcast, where we explore some real stories of innovation, resilience and purpose. While in my many interactions with my corporate friends, the terminologies these days used by them is stress, work-life balance challenges, and so many. I think it's obvious today because considering the intense competition that you have and the pressure that is there in the office, this is quite normal. But I think the question is, the people who have mentioned me about this, what actions have you taken to overcome this? Right? So to discuss and deliberate on the same, I have an expert today with me, and I'm all happy to host Mr. Taha, the founder of Heart It Out. On behalf of all my viewers, let me extend a heartfelt welcome. Welcome, Taha.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Pleasure to have hosted you here, and on a topic which is very, very niche, because we understand, because we run this program on entrepreneurship, and we know how the journey of an entrepreneur is, whether it is an entrepreneur or it's a corporate professional. The terminologies that I use these days are quite common,
yes,
which is not a great thing, right?
Unfortunately.
So that's the whole point that we have connected with you, because this is something is the need of the hour, and I'm so happy to host you today. So before I get into the subject matter, this question I always ask my guest. Tell me something about your past, because at times there are no relations between your journey in the past and what you're doing currently. I want to know something same of you. Basically, I want to ask your school days, your college days, your upbringing. How was that?
Sure thing. No, so I remember when you say this, I remember Steve Jobs' interview where he says, all the dots will connect looking backwards. When you're doing something, you don't realize how much impact it is going to create in your life.
Absolutely.
Or the values that you're taking away from smaller things that you're doing, right? So what I feel is everything I have done from my first day in school till now, and even outside of school, like in life in general, has prepared me for this moment. So as an entrepreneur, no 2 days are ever the same for you.
Absolutely.
Right? And how do you, wake up and tackle those challenges and go to sleep and wake up with the same courage the next day to go fight another day? I think that is something you learn all along your life that you're able to bring into practice, right? So like for me, my life started in a very small town in Uttar Pradesh called Bahraich.
Okay.
Right? It's 130 kilometers away from the state capital. When I was born, there was not a single hospital. So the closest that we had to travel was about 50 kilometers.
My goodness.
To find a decent hospital. When I was born, there were no places where I could be delivered. So my dad took my mom all the way to Lucknow for me to get delivered there, right? And then I think I would give, a big heads up to my mom and dad for this. I was the first person in my family to ever visit, English medium school, right? Which is a huge deal for somebody coming from a tier 3, tier 4 geography.
Absolutely.
Right? So my life started in Lucknow, where I studied in St. Francis's School.
Okay.
It was a convent, about 150 years old. So a lot of focus was on tradition, a lot of focus was on discipline and values.
Absolutely.
I think which are things I picked up. And also the power of language, right? Because unfortunately in India, English is not a language, it is a class, right? So if you can speak well in a specific language, a lot of doors open for you. And I think my mom and dad had seen that growing up, and they did not want the same outcomes for me that they, saw for themselves. And that is where, everything in my life started from over there. Then in 2010, I moved to Bangalore for my engineering. So I did my engineering instrumentation technology. which is all about measurement.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with quantifying things. Like if there is something, how do you measure it? What is the intensity of something, right? And that eventually went into consulting, into data sciences, into analytics, and my entire journey was driven by how do I quantify a problem.
Wow.
And when I encountered mental health, everything that I knew went for a toss, because you cannot quantify mental health easily for people.
Agree.
You can have an MRI scan for people, right? You can get their vitals, but how do you know how they are feeling?
Correct.
So feelings are so fleeting; they're momental, right? Like they will happen in a second and disappear. How do you put a number against it? How do you measure it? How do I say I am feeling X% better today? Right? So I think over the last 7 years, this is the problem I've been trying to solve. How do we measure how people are feeling?
I think that's what entrepreneur is all about, right? Trying solutions for the varieties of problems that exist.
Absolutely.
But can I say entrepreneurial journey for you was a accident and not a choice?
Yes.
Because you, post completion of your engineering, I think you were in the corporate as well.
Yeah, I worked for 10 odd years in corporates in all sorts of companies across the globe. For me, because again, from the background of where I come from, like it's like what do I say? A middle class family on the lower end of the earning spectrum, right? Nobody in my family runs a business. So, and business is seen as taboo in families like this, because we want certainty. Like my parents had put in so much effort in my education, they wanted certainty out of it, right? When you go on building something that has never been built before, when you go on doing something that has never been done before, there's a lot of fear, right? And to overcome that fear, it takes everything from you, and not just you, people around you. Right? So I never thought of starting a business or building something of my own ever. It was very, very incidental. It happened when I needed help for myself, back in 2017-18, when I needed support, and I did not get the kind of help that I needed. Right. At that point, I decided, okay, I am able to solve for corporate Fortune 500 companies across the globe on how do they better improve their delivery, improve their top line, do all sorts of these things, right? But I'm not able to provide for mental health care in a place like Bangalore in India, right? This is one of the top 4 or 5 cities in the country, right? So if the struggle is so hard in Bangalore, what is the struggle going to be like in Behraich for me? And that is where the idea for Hard It Out was born. And yes, it has been like a running journey since then. Every day we take on new challenges and we solve for them.
I asked this question again to many. You were already having a good, decent job with you and doing pretty well. Your parents were happy. And then you decided to take a journey of your own. What was your reaction from your parents?
They were not happy about it.
That's the right question then.
Absolutely. And for them, Zakir Khan says this beautifully. He says, your parents are not against your dreams. They don't want you to be poor. Absolutely. Right? And when parents have invested so much of their life, like I know the amount of challenges my parents have gone through to ensure I get a good education, the amount of sacrifices that they have made, like I don't think I would be able to do that for my kid, right? Because the amount of selflessness that goes into building something, like building a child. They say it takes a village to raise a child, right? And it really, really does. I was the first person, I think, from my village that has come out to build something at a national scale. Right? And everybody that was surrounding me has supported me in some capacity to get here. But for them, it was not an easy news to digest. There was a lot of resistance from them. They wanted to support me, they just did not know how. And they thought the best way for it was to tell me that this is not going to work, right? So it was all out of love from their side. But for a person that's trying to build something, when there are, when your own family is questioning it, it becomes really difficult, in a lot of ways to go out and build something.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Taha, let's get into the subject now.
Sure thing.
Talking about mental health, I mean, that was a stigma in India. How is the situation right now? People still feel happy and comfortable to talk about it?
There are too many Indias in India when we say this, right? If you go to Brigade Road in Bangalore and talk about mental health, a lot of people will talk very openly about it, right? A lot of them will tell you that they have been to therapy themselves or they know somebody that has gone to therapy.
Okay, right? That's good.
When you go to Lucknow,
Right.
which is the state capital of UP, you will find a fraction of that population that would say that, okay, mental health is something that they understand or they have been to therapy, right? When you go, and a lot of them would just not know about it, right? They would not have negative connotations to it, maybe because of all these stars right now that have come out that talk about mental health. So, how things were 6, 7 years back, they have definitely improved,
Okay.
but they've only improved in specific pockets of the country,
Okay.
right? Like for Lucknow state, the conditions more or less is still the same. When you go to Behraich, I think it has deteriorated over the couple of years.
Good. So let's get into Heart It Out. First of all, I'm really amazed with the tagline that you have given, the name rather, Heart It Out. So what's the story behind Heart It Out?
Everything happens from the heart. Like
Yes.
whatever is happening in the mind is happening because of some emotion that you're feeling.
Absolutely.
And people carry emotions in their heart, not in their mind. So we want to heal hearts. We are not here to treat minds. And that is what we wanted to bring across to people, that we are very approachable, we are very friendly. We don't want people to see mental health in a very medical setup. Right? We want this to be a platform for conversation, right? Once you understand what you need, then you can go work on it, right?
Sure.
And the name really helped us, open a lot of doors for people to reach out to us. During COVID, we got thousands of calls on our support helpline. People were feeling lonely. They were trapped at home. They could not talk to their support systems. So this name really, really resonated with people, and then we stick with it.
Right.
Yeah.
How's the journey going now? What's the team size?
So currently we have about 45 odd people on full-time payroll.
Lovely.
And then we have about 200 odd interns that we work with.
Fantastic.
So it's a sizable team of 250, 300 odd people in the company.
That's great. You started out somewhere in 2018, if I'm right.
Right.
The journey has been fantabulous.
Absolutely. Very challenging, but very exciting at the same time.
Very true. Very true. So what categories, what target market you are focusing currently on? Because the whole world today is a target market. Because everyone, irrespective of the gender or profession, this is something that they have to speak it out. So
Absolutely.
what kind of a target market you are looking at from Heart It Out?
Our vision when we started Heart It Out was to ensure accessibility, right? And we say 1.5 billion people is our
Right.
dream number,
Right.
Which is going to be India's population by 2030
Absolutely.
or earlier, right? So at every price point, in every language, in every geography, we want to be available. Right? So we are one of the few platforms in the country that offer mental health support in 15 plus languages today, which covers 95% of India's population. So every time we bring in new people into the company, into the system, we are looking at how can we use this person to be a little more accessible. Just last month, we onboarded somebody that spoke Nepali. So now the entire Nepali community has opened up for us. If they need help, we have somebody that can support them in their language.
That's great.
Right? And languages are a very important part when
They
we
are.
talk about mental health, because we might speak in English right now, right? But what we think and what we feel in is our mother tongue, is our native language. Especially true for people above 40 years of age right now, because for them, the world has changed so much in the last 40 years. From writing letters to being on WhatsApp, so much change has happened. It's so difficult for somebody that is seeing so much of change happen all of a sudden, right? So our goal is to be more and more accessible with every passing day.
Absolutely.
Be it a price point perspective, be it with respect to languages, be it respect to geographical barriers. We want to keep breaking all of them and be more and more accessible.
Considering the language as a challenge, do you have therapists and counselors across all the states so that they can speak on the particular
Yes, like
language?
we have people that speak all major languages in India
Fantastic.
currently.
That's really great, and that's where I think the clients would be able to connect you more,
Yes.
right?
Because
As
see, with languages, cultural sensitivity comes into play.
Correct.
So, like if you are a Bengali Muslim
yeah.
or a Bengali Hindu or a Bengali Christian, you speak Bengali. Like the cultural significance of it is the same. Right? A big problem with mental health is everything that you've learned is from the West, right? And Western context does not always fit in the Indian cultural context. Right? To give you a very simple example, we had a client come in from the US and they said, I visited a therapist over here. I am having some problem with my mom, right? And my therapist told me, your mom sounds like a toxic person. You should break away all relationship with them. Now, in the Western context, it might be okay. Right? In India,
doesn't work.
we can't imagine this, right?
Absolutely.
Like I can never imagine not talking to my mom because we are not getting along, right? So a lot of things have to be changed and brought into the cultural context. So lots of teaching and training needs to happen for the therapists that we also bring on board, right? Which is why we have a huge academy where we train. Just last year we trained some 700 odd individuals.
Lovely.
Through that
Okay.
academy.
Awesome. Taha, as an academician, as a teacher in this domain since last 18 years now, it really pains to say that India tops the table when it comes to student suicidal death.
Yeah.
The student market is another big chunk today, which badly needs this.
Right.
So, any plans to cater to this particular segment?
So working with children, especially people under the age of 18 years, there's a huge problem, right? We need consent from the parents for them to be able to come to therapy, right? And they need to go tell their parents, because the parents are the ones paying for therapy per se, right?
Agree.
So if somebody wants to go to a doctor, a dermat, anything, the parents are happy to pay for it for the child's betterment, right? But as soon as a child brings up mental health, right, they would try everything from, religion and satsangs and, taking them to church to taking them to mosque. They will try everything,
But not getting into
not mental health, right? So they would go every post and pillar, but not to a psychologist, right? Until the time that change does not happen at a level of parents, our hands are tied. Like we can't directly go and start working with children till the time there's consent from the parents.
So, how can Education Institute work on
I
this?
think this is a place where institutes need to step in.
Right.
We have partnered with lots of institutions
Okay.
across India where we provide therapy support to their students, right? And they do not need to disclose anything. The parents do not need to, intervene over there. They can come on our platform. A child psychologist or an adolescent psychologist will have a conversation with them, figure out the concerns, and basically decide what the next course of action is going to be for them. So for colleges, introducing a program or partnering with mental health companies is something I think which is very, very important and crucial at this point.
So, I think we Education Institute should join hands with people like you. And that's where we can bring a lot of changes in the student
Absolutely,
lives.
absolutely.
Because we see in day out.
Yeah.
It
Like,
really pains as a
every
teacher.
year, like in Kota, we see hundreds of
Oh, yes.
people, like during these exams. Right?
Absolutely.
And if you look at it, like competitive exams, getting rejected from it is no big deal because there are 2,000 seats and 2 lakh applicants. So 1,98,000 people are going to get rejected.
Absolutely.
And there are no systems in place for these 1.98 lakh people. For those 2,000 people, there are gate seats in education. What is happening to the rest of them, right? So till the time we don't build systems for them, it's going to be a losing battle, right?
The question is this a classroom or is this a pressure cooker?
Absolutely true. Very, very true, right? And a lot of times kids take pressure that is not right. We feel like, parents are inducing pressure, but a lot of time this is peer pressure that they're picking up.
That's there.
A friend is doing better in life. Their parents are not worried about their grades, but they feel that all their self-worth is tied to the marks that they're going to get or the exams that they're going to crack. They don't feel like their self-worth belongs to them, right? They're putting it on some external parameter, which is not true in life.
Absolutely. Well, one is the student market. I always say that we have to work together for it because India is a very young population. Majority of the population are youth. So I think we have a long way to go in this particular domain. Well, I was having a great chat with you off camera. And I understand that Heart It Out and you in person have seen a lot of success from this venture. I think in a domain like this, the more satisfaction that gives you is not the revenue that comes, but the success stories of it.
Absolutely.
Would you please mind sharing a couple of it? Wherein, they have approached you and after that their life has absolutely changed. I'm sure you have plenty of such stories. Some of it.
So, like for us, major wins, like our quarterly goals are not set on top line or bottom line. Right? Like I mentioned, our goals are set in the lives that we have impacted. Right? I read a study a couple of years back that said that in a person's life, they would have 4 to 5 very close friends. Right?
Right.
About 150 odd people that they would know on a first name basis. And 80,000 people that they would interact in their entire lifetime at airports and restaurants while ordering food, whatever. Right? I wanted to solve for these 150 people when I started that if I'm able to improve the lives of 150 people, I have done something in life. Then we surpassed that number, we reached that 80,000 mark, then we crossed that lakhs mark and so on. So now currently we have helped lakhs and lakhs of people with their mental health. But a couple of things that stand out for me are people that travel. We have clients that travel all the way from Hyderabad to Bangalore for in-person sessions.
Is it?
Yes, because they do not want the online medium, and we do not have resources currently to set up centers in Hyderabad. Right. Uh, Outside of this, we have families where multiple generations, the child, the mother, and somebody one tier above them, they all have come to therapy for Heart It Out for different concerns. So the amount of trust that people have placed in Heart It Out, I think that is our biggest accomplishment, right? Because to build something in a space that is so much stigma, where people already are trust deficit, right? And you're creating a brand that is running and winning by trust. I think that is our winning recipe, and that is what brings all the pleasure to us. When people go in and recommend Heart It Out to their friends and family, we feel like we have done something good in life.
Wow. 2018, when your parents were not much convinced with your idea, I'm sure they're very proud of right now.
I mean, it has been a long and taxing journey, but I think now they have also started seeing eye to eye with the fact that my life path is very different from how they imagine or see other people around me. Right? Like, I am not here to create wealth or revenue for myself. I'm here to create social change. And I think now they have come to terms with that fact.
Excellent. I mean, very rare to hear such words from an entrepreneur usually, because wealth creation is normally one of the goal of an entrepreneur.
Right.
To hear you're in a different mission, I would say. Any plans to cross the national borders?
We actually have clients coming in from 40 plus countries currently.
Lovely.
Yes, most of them expats, Indians living abroad. Again, cultural context is a problem because a Western therapist is not able to understand their cultural sensitivities. So we get a lot of clients from there. UAE is a huge market for us right now.
Absolutely. Yes.
And like I think every second week I get a proposal to start a franchisee in UAE.
What's stopping you?
Quality of care. Like one thing that I do not want to compromise on is the trust that we have built with people. Right.
Correct.
If I'm not able to do it well, I would rather not do it.
Great.
And right now, there's enough work for me to do in India before I step foot abroad and make a change over there. So we're already in conversations. We are raising funds, etc. And at some point, we will be there. But right now, the focus is Indian audiences, and there's so much work still left to do over here. I feel like then we would be no different from any other company. Where for the dollar impact, we are abandoning our mission and chasing higher revenues.
Anything new in the bucket list for Taha, or you want to stick to this only for the rest?
I'm a very curious person, and along with mental health care, child education is a very, very strong core value for me.
Fantastic.
So we are partnering with different schools. We actually work with Teach for India and cover thousands of students for them that are in government schools in Bangalore. So any kind of support they need, any kind of clinical assessment that needs to happen, we would go and do it for them at deeply discounted rates, right? And I'll tell you why this is so important, right? Like when a child has a learning disability in a well-to-do family, that child has access to all the resources. They would be able to see a child psychologist, a speech therapist, whatever problems are there will get resolved.
Right.
Children that are coming from very difficult socioeconomic backgrounds, where the next meal is going to come from is not clear to the parents. It's very hard for them to invest in healthcare or mental health.
Rather impossible.
Impossible, right? So a lot of them would continue to live with this learning disability that is not addressed in time, and for which there is treatment. Like they do not need to live their lives like this, right? Every small city in India has one person that has a mental illness that was not treated in due course of time, and they are ostracized right now. They're not part of the society anymore, right? They are a laughing stock. Like when they cross the road, people laugh at them and make jokes, right? But what they needed was support 10 years back.
Absolutely.
And if you're able to provide that today to people, I think that is going to make all the difference. If I'm able to improve the life of one child,
that's a big difference, let me tell you.
The change in society that they're going to make is going to be astronomical.
Absolutely.
Right? So these are things that we want to do. Keep supporting people.
You're already working on this?
We are already working with Teach for India in Bangalore. We are looking at doing these projects in different geographies. We recently started working with GIBS Foundation. So they work with suicide attack survivors, right? Another, again, like so much, a whole, bucket of trauma for them, because now your personal space has been violated. You need help. and people are scared of you. You are scared to look at yourself in the mirror, so you start hating yourself, right? This self-hatred is very, very toxic, very detrimental for people. So a lot of work is happening on that space as well, and we are partnering with a lot of NGOs. If you know people, in your network that are working on social change and they need mental health support, very happy to step in and support them.
That's great. That's great. There are thousands and lakhs of viewers watching us. And this is a topic, as I told, which is relevant to every one of us.
Right.
So, some tips and some suggestions based on experiences.
Oh, experiences. Okay. So because I'm a data scientist, I'm going to talk about studies and what I have learned from there. So there's a Harvard study. Actually, let me ask you this question, right? What is the most important thing in life? Like mental health, when you talk about mental health, I did not step out to solve for mental health. I stepped out to solve for happiness.
Right.
Right. What makes people happy is the underlying question. Right?
True.
There's a 75-year-long study by Harvard, right, where there were 700 plus participants, and they looked at people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultural contexts, to understand what is it that make people happy. And they found out the key thing was relationships.
Okay.
If your relationships with your parents, your partner, your friends, family exist in good degree,
Everything
you
is
are
taken
going to
care.
be a happy person
Absolutely.
in life. All material things will fade out. Your relationships are going to be there from the day you are born to your last breath.
100% I agree.
So focus on your relationships, take care of your health, take out time for yourself, and people that love you, people that will stand by you. Invest in your relationships. Do not take them for granted. Your professional life can stay a weekend. When you go back to Monday, nothing would have changed. But over a weekend, your life can change a lot. So please invest time. Please be mindful to your family, friends, and ask them if they need help. And be vocal when you need help. Right? A lot of times, people will not ask for help in the right time. Please be open about it. You will be surprised by the response that you will get.
Lovely. I mean, I would say this is one of the fabulous messages that my viewers have received. Indeed, nobody has ever spoken on relationship management. And today you made it so clear that relationship management is a foundation. If that is there, rest
Everything else will
taken
fall
care.
into place.
Wow. I think my viewers have made a very hard note of it. And journey is incredible, Taha. I really wish a great success for you in the coming days.
Thank you so
And
much.
in your new endeavors. We at GIBS are always with you in your journey.
Very, very kind of you.
On behalf of all my viewers, let me extend my heartfelt thanks to you. Thanks for being a part of the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this.
Well, if you are not subscribed, yes, don't forget to like us on all our social media platforms, GIBS IRE Talks, GIBS Business School. I also have a personal request. Please follow Mr. Taha also in the social media platforms. You tend to learn many, many things, which is very, very important. So for now, this is Guru Prasad, the host for today, signing off. Thank you for watching.